Thank you. In the absence of a flag, we'll forego the Pledge of Allegiance for this meeting. First order of business is to, I call this to order. I'd like to take roll call. Sherry Grace.
Here.
Rosemary Salas.
Here.
Tom Olds. Here. Bill Cringer.
Here.
I don't see Nina, and I don't see Michelle Brooks. So no Nina Dreyer yet, no Michelle Brooks yet. Second order of business is to approve the minutes from the October 20th, 2021 special meeting of the Human Affairs Committee. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Minutes approved. Secondly, approve the minutes from the November 30th, 2021 Joint City Council Commissions Committee meeting. I make a motion to approve the minutes. Sorry?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sherry. So we're approved. For unfinished business and updates, we are going to work on and finalize our proposed annual work plan for fiscal year 2021-2022. As we know, the subcommittee work groups have put together some great ideas requiring a lot of time and energy, a lot of personal commitment, and I'd like to thank everybody for their work with the subcommittees. The goal of today is to take this very large stack of proposed projects, winnow it down into the top 3 to 5 priorities agreed upon by the Human Affairs Committee, so that I may, on behalf of the committee, present our work plan. Present our work plan at the City Council meeting.
Great.
Let the record show Nina Dreyer's in attendance. So I was just recapping, Nina, that the purpose of the meeting today is to take the copious proposed project stack that we've all come up with and winnow it down to our top 3 to 5 agreed upon projects. So that will be presented to City Council, and I'll present on behalf of the committee. I'd request that as many people as possible join the next City Council meeting so that should any questions be answered, you're all available to come up and answer those questions along with me on behalf of the Human Affairs Committee.
Is that
When is
Tuesday?
when is it?
Next Tuesday evening? The 21st, yes.
Right.
21st, okay. All right. And then, Chair, if I may just say a few words before...
I was just going to lead into that. So Cecilia has some sort of guiding principles and rules that we should be mindful of as we're going through this work plan. I'd also like to thank Bill for putting together a nice little summary sheet of each of the items. I also have Michelle Brooks' priorities listed on her sheet, which are captured, which I can share with the group when the time's appropriate. So without any further delay, I'd like to hand it over to Cecilia.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I'm Cecilia Gallardo-Daly, the Community Development Director, for some of you that I haven't met. So I'm just going to kind of recap what has happened since the last meeting when you guys put together all of your work plan items. We had intended for that work plan to go to the City Council meeting in November, but the city manager had some concerns regarding the feasibility of the plan based on how many items were included in the work plan, and really didn't want to leave it up to the council to try and prioritize things for you. He wanted to give you all a chance to do that. So, and in his words, he thought that the plan was potentially infeasible based on fiscal and practical considerations. So keep in mind that you meet every other month. If this plan goes to City Council in December, you have January, February, March, April, May, June. So you'll have 6 months for this work plan. Or would it be October, Janet?
I think it's fiscal year, so it end the end of June.
It would, okay, so it's fiscal year, so it's June. And there were some dollar amounts put to some of these items, and those aren't budgeted. To the extent that staff can help facilitate any of this, using existing resources, we're absolutely available to help. But some things for consideration. I just wanted to put out there that, and maybe make some suggestions. We know that one of the functions that Human Affairs absorbed was homelessness. And I know that the City Council would be very interested in perhaps having the Human Affairs Committee host another town hall. Human Affairs did this several years ago and it was very successful. I think it might be time for an update, and that involved service providers, it involved the Sheriff's Department and city staff and people from Orange County Health, and it was educational. So everyone got an opportunity to talk about it, learn more about it, and understand what the city's resources are, what other resources are, and what we can and can't do.
Just as an aside to that,
yes.
as one of our proposed projects, we have something that this would dovetail very nicely with, and that was a resource fair that we wanted to put on in conjunction with the outlet mall. So we could theoretically, if the group agrees, theoretically do the homelessness town hall, invite all the individuals that wish to present and provide updates to present during the town hall portion, then break off and have individual resource tables for each of the organizations that wish to participate. So just for the consideration when we go through the master list,
Yeah.
that's where that could potentially fit in.
Yeah, definitely. And then I just wanted to remind the committee of something that is actually codified. So it's in the code related to Human Affairs Committee responsibilities. And it says that each member of the committee shall attend at least 8 other community meetings per year. And the purpose and intent behind that is so that the Human Affairs Committee is the link between those organizations and what they do and the people of San Clemente. So I know there's been talk about the resource page, Human Affairs Committee resource page on the web, and that would be a great way to link any of the organizations that you want to reach out to and get to know better, and connect it with our website so that people know what's going on out there. Like, for example, the Wellness and Prevention Coalition. These are the half a dozen things they're involved in, or this quarter they're focusing on this, and we can put that information on the web. And then I just wanted to mention, I know you look at social service grants as part of your work program. So there were some housing considerations last time that's not really within the purview of the Human Affairs Committee. So as you move forward and look at focusing your list into 3 to 5 items, just keep that in mind.
Cecilia, I don't think
Okay, so
that
no
homelessness
housing.
can be divorced from housing policy.
I'm sorry, so no housing, that's,
I mean, the housing is, we have a housing element.
Okay.
We spend a lot of time creating the housing element and identifying housing policy.
okay.
And that really is the guiding document for the city since the city council adopted it.
I have a question on the 8 other meetings. Do we document that anywhere, or do we just because I know some of us have gone to specific meetings. Do we need to document that anywhere, or is that kind of like an on your honor thing?
I think you don't need to necessarily document it, but to the extent there's information regarding that meeting that you want to provide to the group, you can always put that topic on the agenda or talk about it during commission comment. Yeah, okay. And that could be a way to, for this group, the other members of the group, to get more information about some of the other organizations that are out there that you're
Along that
participating
line, are we still planning on giving name badges? Because it had been mentioned a little bit at the joint meeting. Because I kind of walk up and say, hi, I'm Sherry with the Human Affairs Committee, and they're like, yeah, sure.
Yes.
So it's kind of nice to have
Yes.
something that identifies us as part of
Yes.
the city.
Yeah. I thought we had talked about that at their orientation. I mean, the city clerk's office is supposed to be ordering those for all the
Perfect,
commission
thank you,
members.
thank you, yeah, that would be really helpful.
could take this.
With a big, choker.
But we have to bling it out.
Take it around my
You have to
neck.
bling it out.
bedazzle it a little bit.
Yeah, that's it, bedazzle it. So what I'd ask Cecilia is, as we go through the proposed projects, if there's something that comes up that's not within our purview, if you'd please interject and say, let's scratch that. Or perhaps at the outset, we could go through the whole master list that Bill put together, and you could take a look at the items, however you prefer to do it. But I think it's probably a good idea to eliminate the things that we shouldn't be discussing just right out of the gate.
Perfect.
Does that meet with everybody's?
That
makes sense.
Yeah.
Saves us time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we do that at
Okay.
the outset, if you don't
Yeah.
mind? Okay.
Let's see, so adopt a senior.
We're on that one, I think we're kind of a little bit now behind the 8 ball because it was gonna be getting the community to, adopt a family for the holidays, but we're what, a week
Oh,
away?
we missed the boat, so that's
Yeah,
kind
we
of
just
toast.
kind of missed
Yeah,
the
that
boat.
one, that
Okay,
one's off
That's
the,
off right out.
Yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
that one.
maybe we can do something for the spring. Does the senior center do anything for Easter? I mean, I don't know, do they?
We could adopt a senior Valentine.
Yeah.
well, I don't know if I'm comfortable
I
with
know they're
that.
doing the adopt a senior, I mean, there is something going on with the senior center right now. So I think we could probably take.
Scratch that off.
6 months.
Yeah, they're doing a holiday one to deliver with Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
So they do a little gift bag with a small gift and a personal note for the shut-ins.
And if I may say something, I know Lisa, Sherry, and I have seen, but if everyone on your social media pages, if you can just kind of promote it a little bit, that's what we've been doing, and having our personal friends call the senior center, and it's what, like $75 or $50 or something, it's not that much, so that they can provide, and so we've been doing that, and we've been putting it on like the, a crime page and stuff, but I know each of us have had like personal friends when they've seen it, like, oh, that's a great idea, and they've called there. So that may, if you guys, everyone can kind of do that, and there's a flyer that we can give you guys that they have.
You know what we can do, since we're not allowed to communicate with each other on that? If you would please forward it to Janet or Cecilia, probably Janet. And Janet, you can send out the little flyer.
Okay.
And for those of you that are active on social media, and if you don't mind, just post it on your page and say, if you find it, if you're able to help donate, please do so, type of thing. Why don't we agree to do that? And then, there's no pressure. If you don't feel comfortable doing
Yeah,
it, don't.
exactly.
Yeah, but if you'd like to, please do. Okay? Alrighty, so we're gonna scratch number 1.
Okay, attract them back. Remind me what that is.
That was a series of various events that would be held in conjunction with the senior center to attract seniors back to the senior center for participation in different projects, whether it was cookie decorating, making ornaments, paint and sip for wine.
We're trying to do stuff right before the holidays for them because they said they're having a hard time getting the people back in there. So that everyone's been home with COVID for however long, and that they just aren't venturing out, and there's a lot of the mental health, it's really affected these people. So that's what we were trying to come up with, some ideas, but it was all centered around, I think, right before the holidays.
So I think that ship has sailed as well.
Well, and we did talk.
And the funds.
We did attend an event and try and talk to some of the seniors, like what they would like to have there, what would bring them there. But I'm a little concerned now because of the new mask mandate indoors, and
They're all going to shut back down.
that maybe it might not be the right timing at the moment.
Yeah, they're afraid of
Because tomorrow we're all gonna be masking indoors
so we'll
again.
be masking in indoors, so.
So yeah, I'd say then maybe we table that.
Let's table that. So for those of us that are on the 2-year, Nina,
Yes,
we can revisit it.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a jump start.
There we go.
Exactly. There you go.
Like that attitude. Okay. So the next one,
Okay.
mental health resources and support.
So I think this fits in under the overall category of maybe not special needs resource guide, because I think that was a little bit different. But just that idea of creating a social service resource page or the community. And mental health can certainly be one of those categories that's within it.
So as a separate item, let's eliminate that, but we'll blend it into other activities that we're going to be discussing.
Are we talking about the mental health resources and support that we talked about doing with the Family Resource Center? Or am I misremembering?
No, you're right.
Okay.
That we could put it in with,
I don't see how that fits in updating resources.
Well, the homeless, you're talking about with the homeless.
no, I'm talking about the
mental
town
health.
hall.
Oh, sorry.
This is a mental health thing, so.
No, I'm talking about the town hall and having all the
Okay.
resources available.
The
We
homeless
should
town hall.
definitely invite FRC to an event like that,
Mhm.
but I don't think that that's a replacement for getting some actual city support behind that organization and kind of running a more organized program like we discussed at that meeting. I'd be happy to defer to that work group on their position on it, but
Well, no, you have a voice. That's the purpose of today, is to determine what we wish to present to council. As you see, there's a cost, an anticipated cost of $5,000 attached to it, and there's no money. So if there's, if you'd like to discuss it, and there's a way to do this with no money,
There may be, if I make a suggestion, if we're looking for therapeutic support and we're going to be doing possibly once a month a community education, whoever that person is who comes to share, they do it pro bono, and people will see them as an expert in their field, and it may be a way for them to continue helping families.
okay, so why don't we
It's an
just
opportunity.
delete the $5,000 cost? Let's leave it as a project proposal, and then as we go through, we'll discuss it in terms of prioritization. Does that sound fair? Okay. So next one, special needs resource guide.
that's something that Sherry, your sister, brought to our attention at a meeting. We wanted to model it off of another city that had done a very good job. I feel like that's an easier one to do because it's been done before. We can kind of use that as a template. There's some cost associated with it, but at the same time, I see it as closely related to the updating of the resource registry and the microsite development. An updated special needs resource guide is kind of part and parcel with the development of those microsites.
So I will tell you,
integrate.
if we can do something on a shoestring budget, Eric did indicate to me that there is a small amount of discretionary money that he could potentially find. So why don't we leave that? Because that's a very valid point. It does dovetail nicely with a number of other of the projects
I
that are very
question
straightforward.
If we were to come up with like the template, like Bill, you're great on the computer, and load everything in, would the city then put that on their website? Could we do the manpower, so to speak?
I don't believe so. I think IT
Has
is
to do
the group that puts information on our web. Not-
Could you
So we could submit
You
it
can
and then,
submit content, correct,
Yeah.
and then IT would load
Upload
the
it.
content.
Yeah.
correct.
okay, so
I've
we,
emailed them and had them put in new links for organizations that I'm with in the emergency communications side, and they were quick about making those changes. And we could put together I could put together the whole HTML file, and then they could it could be very easy for them if they want to do that, and I expect they would. So
Yeah.
they have to make it, put the same kind of logo and stuff on it. So.
Yeah, exactly. And just to give you an example, we have a coastal land use consultant who helps us with all of our coastal planning issues. And whenever there's an update that she wants to put on the web, she does it in some kind of format, emails it to the
That's
staff,
what Bill knows how to
and
do.
they put it up on there. So yeah,
Yeah, I have to do that.
that's definitely doable. Okay.
Okay. So the next one, Light Up Del Mar and the Pier. It sounds like there are no funds available to do that.
Yeah, that can be. Do you guys agree that that's okay to?
yeah, I'll leave that in.
There's.
Yeah, I love it,
We were
but
walking
there's no
up here
money.
the other night and we were walking under all those white lights and we were like.
It'd be fun. Wouldn't it be fun if they were colored?
Yeah.
But there's like Pier Pride. There's all kinds of organizations that could potentially take that up.
Okay.
And that's one thing I want us to be mindful of as we review this.
Right.
What can be really effectively handed off to a nonprofit in the area,
Right.
and what really has to be done by a city committee.
Perfect. Okay, so we're taking that one off?
Yes.
Okay.
And then best practices addressing homelessness.
That is something that is specifically in the purview of the committee, and it's a research item. So the committee would be doing the research, and we prepare a report for staff and council at the end of our term. I don't see any good cause to remove that item.
Fair enough. Okay, updating the resource registry?
That's an ongoing item that I think is.
Right. That's sort of
boilerplate.
evergreen,
We
yeah.
need to keep that.
Okay, so overall homeless strategy?
That relates to item 7, and one of them is new. Actually, item number 7, best practices, that is new. I don't know if maybe we want to knock 7 out and just make it a part of the overall homeless strategy.
Well, I think we should combine it like what you said, they want a homeless town hall, so all that's related together, right?
Right. Well, the forum and the formal plan, the formal suggestions we present are going to, I don't think we can double dip the effort on one. We can use the effort and materials we find, but I think we have to do both things, right? So, actually, I know I just spoke kind of, I was sort of maintaining best practices, but maybe it can just be integrated into the overall strategy if staff thinks that makes sense.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Would it make sense to integrate the best practices addressing homelessness into the overall homelessness strategy item?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
7 and 9.
Yeah, yeah. Combine them, right.
Very good.
Okay, so 8 is updating the resource registry.
How's that?
Didn't we just talk about it? We did talk about it.
We did.
Already, yep, and we
So
were
it's a
on 9,
do.
And then I walked it back to 7, so I apologize for that confusion.
Okay. So resources microsite development, that's taking, so 8 we can scratch off because that's sort of a dupe, right?
No, well, that's the one that's on the previous work plan. That is a boilerplate item. And if we don't do that, we have to put on the microsite. Basically, the work we do updating it is going to be utilized developing the microsites. If anything, if we wanted to,
So why don't we
Same
just
amount of
combine
micros.
those two? How about that, 8 and 10?
Yeah.
we could, or C10 as like a stretch goal or something like that. But
8 and 10.
the way I have in my notes, I have that item is contingent on 8
Right,
and on 4 because they are related in their,
Right.
their research. Right?
right. Okay, so 4 trickles into 8 and 10, basically. So 4, 8, and 10 are combined, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So I'm taking 4 off as a separate one, and I'm combining it with 8 and 10. So number 11, new affordable workforce housing policy research. Cecilia, I'm going to ask you to comment on that. Is that within the scope of what we should be focusing on?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what, this is exactly the reason behind the housing element. So, all of the policies related to housing, affordable housing, the different types of housing, including workforce housing, that's all already, taken care of in the housing element.
There's still great merit in identifying new approaches that have been taken in other areas and maybe have been successful. And affordable housing is inseparable from the issue of homelessness, which is very clearly in our purview. And that's a no-cost item. There's a work group focused on that, and I don't see any advantage to removing it. And I do see at least a potential benefit of keeping it.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, the housing element doesn't just address affordable housing and different types of housing. It also addresses homelessness and emergency shelters. I'm just wondering what the outcome is or what the work product is with this.
The work product in here should be stated, but basically we provide a report and a presentation if desired, showing different things that the city could potentially look to do that could be integrated into our work plan at its periodic update. Hopefully we'll be on an 8-year cycle and won't have to do it in 4, but it'll be good information to have.
Well, and I would encourage you to look at the housing element, and if
I did.
if there's something, if there's something missing from there that's specific, I mean, I would just
I think it's
prefer that as a
submitted.
discussion.
It's already sitting with HPD, so I don't think there's any opportunity to change that document. But it's a.
So my question is,
The material
what's the
is-
purpose of doing this work if there's no way to change the document that's already sitting with the state of California?
The housing element is a plan. It's not, nothing in, but things that are planned, zoning changes, for example, that are in there, they're not done by virtue of being in the housing element.
No, I know.
Council doesn't do that, right? So council, they can always pick up an item that's a good idea. They don't, their hands are not tied by the housing element.
I guess I'm just wondering
We
if
can
that's
integrate it
within
into
the
the future.
scope of our work.
Yes.
Should we be focusing on that or no? I mean,
think
I'm
that
just
you
looking
can
for,
focus on that to the extent it relates to homelessness.
right?
And I feel like that is what you're accomplishing with your best practices addressing homelessness and overall homeless strategy.
It's related certainly, and I guess we can integrate it, but one thing that would have to be done then is kind of a reshuffling of the work groups, because we have separate work groups for housing policy and for homelessness. So, we're talking about reshuffling the work groups anyway.
Because
Yeah, so that's.
I think everything's gonna be reshuffled once we
Yeah.
determine our priorities.
That'd be the only thing that would make me trepidatious about merging them, but I think since we have to reshuffle anyway.
I think it's gonna be a
Fine.
fruit basket upset, and we're gonna have entirely new work groups once
Yeah.
once council approves
Right, what they
3 to
want.
5 projects,
They
because
may
that's
not
still
want. They know.
blue
Why don't
sky, it
we,
remains unseen.
With an understanding that that's going to be a part of the overall homeless strategy,
Okay,
I'm comfortable removing
Okay,
that.
so let's-
We're
okay,
narrowing it down a bit.
but let's make note of that so we know that it's not missed and it's part of the overall homeless strategy.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough? Okay, so SC mentors for young adults at a price tag of $15K, I think that's, I would propose that we eliminate that unless there's a way to do it at no charge.
This was
Yeah, I really think it's a worthwhile project that actually needs to be applied and should be applied and combined with the 6 to 12-year-old as well.
I think we
The
could
more-
combine 12 and 13.
Yeah, something like that, but just the extent to which we can actually do something like that would be a real benefit to the community. And there's so many kids that are just kind of lost in their own.
Could we,
Is there a way to do it that doesn't cost
Do it
any
that
money
doesn't-
since they told
Well,
us we
you
don't
know,
have any
obviously
budget?
you can always try and do it without money. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe get somebody to donate some money or something, or write a check.
A lot of the dollars seem to be for advertising.
They
Right.
were.
Yeah, that's just.
Maybe
so
we
can
can
we do it
partner with,
on San Clemente Life and San Clemente Crime page? Where we post it on there asking for.
Or maybe San Clemente Times would even donate some free ad space.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do
To
a
the
letter to the
community.
editor. We can, as.
Because that was the whole
Like that, we
cost
can get-
was advertising,
Yeah, we can
basically.
do,
'cause-
stretch social media, work with local.
Well, not only that, you think about it, and how would you get these kids, obviously, to do some sort of a training program for some kid to learn carpentry or cleaning cars or running a garbage truck or whatever.
We could also work with like that federal jobs.
Have you heard?
I'm trying to remember. I dug up some information on it at the last meeting, but there's a Americans Job Corps. I think they have a facility up in Long Beach. They train skilled trades there.
Yeah, well, it's just.
Work with them to get materials. And
Yeah, it's just, this is just exploratory, see if we can set something up. The issue is that the schools don't really have shop classes like they used to. They used to have the engine type work, but they need support for this. And there's a lot of young men that really aren't very academically oriented. And
And young women,
Yeah, and
Well,
all the
women, I don't,
trades.
everybody.
Yeah.
that would be great. Teach women how to cook, that would be a wonderful thing.
So if we eliminate the money we were thinking, put it
I
to
took wood shop,
advertising.
just to let you know.
What?
Oh,
I took wood shop,
You
just to let
did?
you know. Yeah.
Well, I think.
They said no, so I went
And
to the
there's some
school
women I
board.
know that are great shots too. They can outshoot me and
I
drop
did.
any day.
I took sewing. That's all they
I didn't
offered.
want to do that, so I took wood
I
shop.
love it. I mean, there's so much stuff we could do.
Yeah,
And it would
it's
be
a brilliant
very
idea.
positive thing for the community to eliminate it. Is I'd say just put it in their face and say,
Do you want to
if they
challenge
turn
them
this
to
thing
come up with some money
down.
for it, Tom?
What?
It sounds like you do want to challenge them to come up with some money for it, and I agree that it's a worthwhile project.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck? What do you got to lose?
The amount we need to ask.
I mean, they can always say no.
They can, exactly. I'm comfortable putting that.
So let's combine that into
The 6 to 12s.
6 to 12 and young adults.
Yeah,
So
good
that
one.
we have the
Make
teenagers.
it all one program.
Let's make it one program, and let's see how we can get the community to engage and do it at very low cost.
Yeah, but you
still
just say
have
we're
that
serious about it. If we don't ask for something, it's like we're not serious. And not only that, we will need money. or something to get going. We might not even need it if we get the right people backing it. I mean, there's a lot of extremely wealthy people in this community. I mean, it's like there's so much money, it's unbelievable. And, it wouldn't be that hard to get some donations in here. I mean, my God.
Do you have any ideas on nonprofits that could potentially
I don't have a nonprofit. No,
pick this up?
My concern is if we blend it with the 6 to 12-year-olds, I have like a 6-year-old granddaughter. I would never in my life turn her over to someone I don't know to be mentored. So I was thinking of was to help young people learn a skill and a trade.
That's exactly it. The mentor thing is a little bit beyond that.
So 12-year-olds.
No, 16.
It'll be 12 to 17-year-olds.
No, but you could get like border patrol
Yeah.
agents. Maybe the kid wants to go into law enforcement. And,
Not 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be
Grade
6-year-olds, although I know my grandson would probably be excited by the prospect of it. But, there's a lot of things these kids could really get involved in. It'd be fun. And actually, you could get excited about this as opposed to some things where you're going, what are we doing? We need to help kids. That's what we need to do. And the city of San Clemente has a purpose
So
to serve the community.
let's blend that and say grade 6 through high school.
Why don't we?
I can
why
go for
don't
that all the
we-
way.
Okay, what about blending, the every 15-minute program, just so you guys know, I talked to the highway patrol. The grant is now $9,000. And he says that should cover pretty much everything. He said that San Clemente High hasn't done it since 2015. And there's money available this year, for this spring. Also, San Juan Hills High is doing it and Santa Margarita High is doing it, but he still has money. I talked to Captain Benfield because we dropped off goodies with the new police station, the thing opening. He thought it was a great idea. And what I talked to him about is what I envisioned is because he says it starts younger, grade 6, junior high, BAMs and short clips. If we do, part of this program is you have to video it. And the highway patrol officer said San Clemente High has a video department. They should be able to do it where we all help, we all do it together. Then on maybe end of the school year or back to school nights at BAMS and Short Cliffs, as the parents are rotating through, they rotate into a room where this video is shown, okay? And then the resource officer from OCSD talks to them about, okay, this is where it starts. You guys, there needs to be communication. Also talk about, how bad social media is, the phone. I mean, we talked about that, right? Get them information so the parents are starting to think about it in the junior high level. And we can kind of then maybe come up with, mentoring programs, try to get businesses that are interested in mentoring and shop places where they want to mentor and these kids can do something like that.
So every 15 minutes sounds like if the grant's approved for us, it's going to be free of charge.
Right?
Yeah, he said there's,
But we can't receive that grant. It's got to be the school.
right, but we can help them with it. He says you get involved with them and you guys.
We partner with them and facilitate the whole program.
Right, with the Wellness and Prevention Coalition.
Right.
That's on campus.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a resource officer there and we get with them, we do it, and then also the, what's the one that puts on all the, what are they called? Drawing a blank. But he said there's like a VP or and someone at the school that's in charge of all the activities director. And we get them involved. But the officer said that a lot of times, like with the community, Board and Brew will donate sandwiches because you have to, the kids that are kind of the actors, it's a 2-day program. So that first day when they pull them out of class and then
They stay
everyone
at a
watches the
hotel.
accident,
They have to have
they
meals.
can't go back to school. The kids can't see them, so they're gone. And the kids, last they saw, these kids died in a car accident. So
And they go to a hotel, they don't
yeah,
stay
they go to a
home.
hotel, they're chaperoned by the school, whatever, and then you have to provide food. But he said a lot of times the restaurants will donate. They get a little bit of publicity for it.
It sounds like the money here is basically in case it's needed, but we shouldn't need it between the other parties.
Well, it was actually for videography, and we don't need to now because
Yeah,
Rosemary
that's what I
found a
thought.
solution.
Well, the officer said each school has their own.
So it's fabulous. So we could do that at zero cost.
Have you talked to the principal of San Clemente High School?
Well, I wanted, if we're okay with it, then I was gonna approach them.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a great step, and I think that dollar item needs to have an asterisk next to it, because it's not, nobody's asking the city to cut a check. It's basically, can you promise some availability of funds to buy a kid a lunch at a hotel while they're doing their part of this? Okay?
And
then
you,
the other
and
piece
you
of
guys
it-
know what it's every 15 minutes, it's related to, they'll show them like at a prom, and then afterwards they're drinking, and then they're driving, but what it is then they recreate the whole scene, so then the kids watch the aftermath of the accident. So they've got, the tow company donates the cars that have been destroyed, OCFD, Orange County Sheriffs, they're all involved. The officer that does the grant, he's the arresting officer, so one of them's getting arrested for a DUI, and then they actually kind of they pull, the people obviously are alive, but they're pulling them out and putting them in a body bag, so these kids are watching their classmates, so as they say it to them.
It's a simulation of the impact of DUI when lives are lost.
That's very powerful.
It's very powerful, they say, yeah. And then the parents are there, and, the parents are realizing, because they're seeing their kids get taken away, and the kids aren't coming home that night. So it makes parents think too,
And it's evergreen, because once it's videoed, the school has a copy and they can use it every
Right.
back to school night.
Back to school night, it's kind of,
Or
you
like
can use it. Yeah.
Electives, when kids take health, drugs, and society, they can play it in that class.
Right.
Like there are a number of different,
So the ones that I've known that have done it, and my daughter's one friend did it, and her mom said that was eye-opening, because some parents, I've got kids that have gone through high school, college, and in high school, it just blows me away, but a lot of these parents let them drink, they serve other kids alcohol.
but how many kids are lost every school year as a result of
Right.
DUIs, whether it's alcohol or drugs?
Yeah.
Every graduating class loses at
Some,
least
it
one
seems like
student,
there's
right?
something,
Doesn't it seem like it? I
20? Do you know that's for sure?
Well, there was one fellow who OD'd,
Yeah, there's,
the football player that OD'd on bath salts.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's always something deleterious that happens, and if we can,
Could you get some actual statistics on that, rather than, I know I don't want to get over sensational about something, but to be able to identify, I think it's not just the deaths, it's actually that people get arrested for DUI. That's an expensive proposition.
Yeah.
well, and it ruins your life.
Yeah, it definitely can adjust your trajectory.
Yeah, fair to say.
So let's adjust the trajectory in a positive manner,
Yeah.
right? Okay, and then last but not least for consideration is the San Clemente High School Humanitarian Award and Mentoring.
That was on prior year's work plan, and I think
That's something we do every year, right?
yeah, it's an every year thing, and we also need to kind of maintain it so that those students are continued to be mentored that were selected previously. I think we need to keep it going, and it's a no-cost item, and frankly, council seems to enjoy it when they get to give a kid an award and
Right.
celebrate their work. So
So what I'm hearing is, is the mentoring, that, can that tie in the
it's pretty different. This is more of the college track mentoring,
college
I think,
mentoring? Okay.
generally.
It's for kids. Kids are nominated that have performed significant community service work, and then every council, I guess, votes on it, and someone's presented the award.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, one of
You guys, in the past, the Human Affairs Committee has chosen 2 members to interview the students, and then they would pick a
And there's an application process,
There's an
right?
application
They're
process.
not- Kids apply.
They're nominated from a teacher, a school,
Okay.
and then
You guys all look at the applicants and you select.
Oh, that's
It's based
lovely.
on, and it's based on like, with community service and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, academics, community
When's that typically
service.
done?
That's usually in the spring.
Graduation.
Yeah, right for graduation.
Okay.
March, April timeframe.
Yeah.
And then
It's
the
for
awards
our
day.
juniors though, not, so they're not graduating, they're going into their senior years, and we also provide them with a letter for college admission purposes.
Oh, that's fabulous, Bill. Okay, so we've culled this down substantially.
Yeah.
So why don't I go ahead and summarize on behalf of the group what the items are that we're to prioritize. And we may be at the point where we have had the discussion and we have the projects already. So I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at summarizing. Please jump in if you have input, and then we're going to go ahead and prioritize the projects. Okay? So the first one is mental health resources and support. The second one is the community resource fair / town hall. And that's inclusive of homelessness, mental health, special needs, really just serving any special circumstances faced by community members.
The description, purpose, goals, deliverables needs to be changed if we're going to combine those. They're two different, I think, otherwise.
Right.
Because the town hall was just homelessness and mental health, right? We can combine that together, what the resources are available for them.
Yes, you can. So the idea originally was just a homelessness town hall, but you guys had talked about a community resource fair where it wasn't just limited to one issue, area, or topic, but it was a bunch of different services and
So the
organizations.
town hall would be focused on homelessness, and then the breakout could be how all these different groups
Yeah, that can be really interesting.
represented.
Breakout rooms and things like that.
So why don't we do town hall on homelessness and mental illness?
And then have.
And then for the
resource-
community resource fair, have
for all their-
everything.
Everyone display their booths, what's available, what's, okay.
The
So
resource
are
fair
those
is
two separate
complicated.
events, or are they happening at the same
They're two different to combine. I think we need to
time?
maybe.
I mean, like, would we have a town hall and then a month later have a community resource thing, or are these, would we have a town hall and then like a breakout in
Yes.
that town hall on the same day?
Same day.
The town hall had been at the community center, and we had talked in the work plan here about doing the fair at the outlet.
Outlets.
So, like I said, these are very different programs. I don't know if
Or
it
could we
makes
do
sense.
the town hall at the outlets?
I'd almost rather do the town hall. I thought the community center was a good forum for that event.
Yeah.
And it might make sense to table the resource fair to next year after we have an updated resource guide.
Okay.
I hate to do it because it's a nice idea.
That's
but
not a bad
we're
idea,
already
Bill,
looking at
because
starting
we're not
January.
gonna have a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Do you guys, I don't want to
I agree with Bill.
speak for the, what
Yeah,
the,
because we can't, the two don't combine together.
they're not, yeah, they're two different, they're two different to combine. So,
Can I interject?
Yeah, sure.
The last town hall we had,
Yes,
they had inside the speakers and outside there were resources.
Booths.
All the booths were set up for all the providers.
Oh, so we could theoretically do the same thing.
Exactly.
we should absolutely have providers there, but I think I
I
don't
don't
want to
think special
fully
needs
conflate.
providers should be there with mental health
Was
and
it
homeless.
limited to homeless related?
It was
It-
homeless,
that
but
was
there
the-
was mental health services. Was
Right.
that-
Yeah, where it's related.
Go together.
So why don't we do that since they dovetail nicely, and that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to narrow the resource fair side of it a bit.
Indeed.
Yeah, but that's okay. Let's.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are we agreed in changing that plan item to another forum on town hall on homelessness with service providers?
Yeah, I would say the
Yeah.
town hall with service providers, and then, we were talking about doing a special needs resource guide, and then next year, you
Yeah.
guys can do the.
We'll keep our
special
notes from the
needs.
guide and all that research, and
So
we'll.
at the town
Council
hall,
President.
homeless and mental illness town hall, we would just have mental health
And
and
homeless,
Homeless.
vendors.
vendors there, that's it?
No, vendors like FAM was there, Mercy House,
What they
Mercy
do.
Health.
resource providers.
Resources,
Yeah.
exactly.
Whatever, mission hospitals, yeah, the ones that are providing, services in here in San Clemente.
Well, and even if the actual service isn't provided in San Clemente,
If it's available.
available to those
Yeah, what's
in San
available to
Clemente.
San Clemente, so we.
Yeah, because it could be Santa Ana, it could be Irvine, could be Lisa Viejo, whatever. Okay.
So we have one is the mental health resource support, and what does that entail?
It goes with the community fair.
That goes with the community fair?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, it doesn't.
That's not the community fair one.
I think it's
Yeah.
separate.
That's the homelessness, right?
Let's turn to page 3 on your summary. Let's review it and see where it fits in. And then we're going to continue to go down the list and see if we can arrive at our 3 to 5. Okay. So this program was meant to be a separate program to provide resources to individuals and families affected by mental illness. And Nina, you jump in here because
Well, that's exactly what it was. It was
Right.
just that if an individual gets diagnosed with a severe mental illness, schizophrenia, bipolar, personality disorders, and they are adults, they can no longer function in society. They are probably going to end up getting on disability. How does a family deal with that? You know, when people come out of a 5150 from now Providence Hospital, Laguna Beach, you know, families are given a person who most likely has a suicide attempt. Maybe they've been in the hospital for several, like a revolving door kind of thing, because they just don't get what's going on with them. But it's just providing a speaker maybe once a month to come as a community education awareness group to talk about what mental illness is, how to recognize it, if they have a family member who has been diagnosed with mental illness, what resources are available for that family. Right now in the community, you know, it's pretty well known, there's something called NAMI, National Alliance of the Mentally Ill. And the truth is, I've gone to those meetings myself trying to see exactly what services are offered for the mentally ill, and that's more like, excuse my language, a bitch session about now having a 36-year-old daughter who's, you know, bipolar and out of control. There's no answers. So
there's no actionable solutions provided.
right. And
So
that's
if
what I'm
you
looking
have
for.
somebody
Thank
that
you.
comes out of the hospital off of a 5150 and they say, I'm in a mental health crisis, I need my bipolar medication, what do you do with that person?
Well, people don't know because
You
a lot
don't
of those
know.
people, where do they get now? Do they have insurance? They're lucky if they do. Most don't.
So,
You
Nina,
know-
are you saying the city would run that program, or Human Affairs Committee would run that?
Well, I'm just in talking about it, I'm open to ideas, but I wanted to start with having a forum where it could be addressed. There are different resources.
What's your idea of a forum? Could you get more
Or
specific?
maybe a community awareness to have a speaker who's very well,
Like an event at the community center where a speaker comes in once a month. So we would probably have time to do 2 or 3 of them.
Doesn't the Community Wellness Center do that?
At the high school, they do that just for the high schoolers.
Just for the high schoolers, but they don't do anything that's beyond that?
No, but I'm wondering if there are other organizations.
Does
out
Nanny
there
meet in
that
town?
do.
Could we potentially help identify qualified people to speak to at their meetings? And to help them to be a better performing?
so you're saying, can we identify speakers who would come, Bill?
Yeah, something like that. Could that be how this is?
Well, you know, the
Together?
hospital themselves may, you know, like Providence Hospital may have speakers on staff who would be willing to do a community presentation
Mhm.
here in San Clemente, or, you know, something like that to help. Then I think, you know, if they were to do that, I mean, would we have
Funds to
enough
help
people
cover the
who would
expenses.
come?
Yeah, just a question. What is a speaker going to do for people who have a daughter that's suffering from mental illness at age 33 or 4? I mean, what are they really going to be able to tell these people?
What they're going to be able to tell them is, the first thing, I mean, probably they would ask, you have to make sure the person has insurance. Where are they going to get psychiatric care if they're on Medi-Cal? There are resources available for things like that. Where can they get them into some kind of community organization like daycare? They have adult daycare sometimes where people can go who can't be left alone during the day.
So what you're suggesting is the committee get involved in trying to provide something that really, you know, the parents of the young lady or young man
Whoever.
would be most responsible for it. And what you're trying to do is just provide some information.
Yes.
Yeah, so Nina, a lot of what you described is, I feel like it's something that the county or somebody else already does.
Yeah,
And-
it would seem like you get all these committees and stuff, we have all these resources everywhere,
It
I'm
seems
not
like
even
the
sure what's
role of
available.
the Human Affairs Committee probably is part of these, 8 groups or 8 organizations or 8 agencies that you talk to, tapping into that, doing the research, finding out who it is, what it is, and then we can put that information on the website so people have that available, or we can, advertise that information is available.
So you feel
on the
like it's
website.
pre-existing, we need to identify the resources and put it on the website?
Yes.
I like
So
that
add
idea
that to
a
the
lot better,
resource
because
guide.
it just seems like this is such a
Exactly.
broad thing, and it's like, I don't know.
I think you're probably right.
And then
I think we're biting off, we're trying to eat the
Amen.
elephant.
I think so.
Good
It
point,
sounds like
Tom.
it the more we talk about it and flesh it out.
Okay, so let's X that off of our list.
Well, but I think too that could fall into this service providers up here too.
Indeed.
Right. Homeless town hall.
Right.
Indeed.
Get them a table there.
You're precisely right. Good. See, look at this discussion, how it's working. Okay. No, it's good. It's a good exchange of ideas. Okay, so the next one that I have,
Right now, right?
pardon?
One.
Yes. So the next one is best practices addressing homelessness.
Wait a minute, okay, hold
I
on.
think
What
you're jumping
about
ahead.
the develop a special needs resource? So
Yeah,
we
that's
provide,
really,
Bill, we talked about, we're gonna provide to update the resources
Yeah, Lisa?
to IT, is that what we're doing?
If I can speak to that
Sorry.
briefly, that is next on the list here.
What is next on the list here?
Develop a special needs resource guide.
Oh, thank you.
And in my notes, I have that combined with item 8, update the resource registry.
4, 8, and 10 I have.
With actual, yes, 10.
Okay.
4, 8, and 10.
Resources. So basically, the research that we would do, the Venn diagram of what research we need to do for that is a circle, right? It's the same research. So we leverage the same information to update the resource guide, develop a special needs resource guide, a nice web version, and if budgets allow, print version. And we'd also do that up in HTML5 so it works well on mobile devices and things like that.
And update the city website.
Yeah, that's what those resources would be for.
Yes. I just
Okay.
say it very plainly so that we and all understand we're talking the same thing. Okay, so right now, to recap, we have the Community Resource Fair / Town Hall with the service providers on homelessness and mental health issues. The second one, we have number 4, 8, and 10 combined, which are developing a special needs resource guide, updating the resource registry, and resources microsite development for updating the city website.
Okay.
Okay, so that's number 2. And now I won't jump ahead, Bill. Now I'm on track here. Number 7, best practices addressing homelessness, combined with number 9, the overall homeless strategy. Did I get that right?
And also number 11.
Okay, 7, 9, and 11 combined. So that's best practices addressing homelessness, the overall homeless strategy, and the new affordable workforce housing policy research to provide potential ideas that could be incorporated in the future by City Council. Did I capture that?
That sounds great to me.
Okay, so that's number 3. 7, 9, 11.
Oh, moving right along.
Beg your pardon?
Moving right along.
Well, we've had some really robust discussion. This is fabulous. Okay, so mentorship, yay, exciting. Mentorship for young adults and the 6 to 12 grade school folks. So basically grade 6 through high school, right?
Right.
The mentorship program.
And I'd say we could put blurbs out on social media asking businesses to, if anyone interested in mentoring a high school, junior high, the auto shops, the, car dealers, there's all sorts of stuff we could do.
And the other thing that's a really fantastic idea is that and I think, Tom, you said this on one of our Zoom meetings, if, for example, somebody goes to work for Robbie's Tire Center, and they're there 10 hours a week. Maybe when they graduate, they get a job at Robbie's Tire Center.
Right.
Or that evolves into a part-time job, and then they really find out that they love that. Or, ooh, they don't really like that, but they love HVAC, and they learn how to do HVAC stuff. Or, you know, the things are limitless. It could be somebody working in retail, and they're helping steam clothes and hang up clothes, and it turns into a part-time job.
Yeah, it's just, all it is that, you know, generally, you know, the tradesmen, their siblings end up joining them in the business, and if they have siblings and or children, and this would be a method of just expanding that opportunity base for employees, but also just really open up an avenue of opportunity for people that are kind of clueless on what they can do.
See, that's where you hit the nail on the head to me. When I had the sort of aha moment when you said, you know, we're exposing youngsters to things that they maybe have never even thought about.
I'm still kind of curious about your woodworking experience.
I built a chess set.
Oh my God.
I still have it.
Really?
Yeah. I have it upstairs in my
You
loft.
carve the little pieces?
Yes.
You're kidding me. That's
No.
almost like an art project.
And I did mortise and tenon for the actual board for the
Oh.
chess set. Oh, yeah.
I made a club.
Okay, so the mentorship.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
So would the Human Affairs Committee run that program? So the Human Affairs Committee would advertise or solicit, and then you would
Yes.
pair up?
Yeah, it's just, you gotta get to the high schools, the principals.
We'll get with the high schools. and
We would
They're
do
talking
the
to
outreach.
people. We don't know where it is going to go right now, but you know, there's definitely going to be some businesses that are going to have some interest in maybe, you know, bringing someone in. I mean, seems to be this big shortage of employees. Everybody's hiring, so
Yeah, we have the community fairs,
So
that would be easy to.
provide
easy
an
to.
avenue that would help facilitate that process. I'm sure the business would be somewhat happy to have that happen.
Could a work group agree to manage that?
Yes.
3 members of this group just decide that they would do the outreach, maintain a spreadsheet, and just kind of administer that
Yeah,
on a
so the-
volunteer basis?
Yeah, so the only thing and this is my bureaucratic hat, is I don't know if there are risk management issues associated with.
Well, mentorship for sure. Yeah, you have to get the.
Committee, putting
So we would ask the city
individuals
attorney.
together.
Some liability waiver, just protecting the city's interests, I think. would be in order.
Right.
But,
Something should happen to someone.
So you're thinking there might be an insurance aspect, like the parents would
We just
sue
find-
the city
Sign
because
it.
their son had been, you
Sign
know,
a, sign a waiver.
cut his finger off.
You gotta hold the city harmless.
Well, if the city attorney says we can't go down this path, then we'll,
So we can
No
research
lawyers
that.
kids.
that would be very much appreciated
Yeah.
before the city council meeting,
we'll
and
do
then
that.
share with the committee,
Yeah.
so that we're not presenting something that we're not able to fulfill.
And-
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Generally,
absolutely.
when legal departments have to be asked, they just say no. So if that could be framed as, you know, could you put together a short liability waiver that could be used for such a program?
Actually, I'm gonna talk to risk management and the city attorney.
There we go.
Perfect.
So you're saying find a way to yes, instead of
Yeah.
find a way to no.
If the parents are willing to sign away,
It'd be
they're willing to
for
sue,
workman's comp
risk
too.
their kids' fingers, that's fine.
No, it's very valid.
Is there gonna be a cost to that, or do we take the cost out of that?
Cost is out of it.
The cost is out of it because we'll run the program.
We'll get community members to voluntarily bring people in, and then we'll advertise it on the city website and on social media, so it'll be free. So we scratch the cost to answer your question. Janet?
We
Okay.
probably, oh no, well, they're not gonna be getting paid, so we really wouldn't need to worry about work permits for
No.
kids that are under 16.
They might technically need working papers, but the schools administer that.
Right. And we can, you know, talk to the schools also about some community service hours for the kids, because they all need that for,
Or they may get high school credit.
yeah.
Work for a.
It may be work
Yeah.
experience for high school credit, who knows?
That would be excellent.
There are ramifications here that are far reaching as long as we get the thumbs up to be able to move ahead. But our esteemed associates with the city are going to tell us.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how serious they are. You know, we're hitting them in the face and see what happens.
Okay, good. So the mentorship program is item number 4. Item number 5 is the every 15-minute program. And we don't need to discuss that further. We all know what that is. And then item number 6 is the humanitarian award and mentoring.
Can I just, Rosemary, are you available to attend the city council meeting to advocate for the
Yeah.
program? Great.
Can we submit all 6 of these?
Yes,
Yeah, so let me, and if I could just,
I say yes.
yeah, of course, this is your work
And then let
program.
Can I use my gavel?
I'll take you to the club.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom said.
On the every 15-minute program, I think it's probably more about partnering with the high
With state committee,
school
yes, because partnering
to
with the high
apply
school.
for the grant,
Exactly.
Yes.
help facilitate,
And
coordinate
the
with
human
the high
affairs committee
school.
will coordinate with with getting it rolling. Right.
And would reach out to the high school
Right.
and okay, yeah.
And then the
so we would help with that.
city would be involved, like council would be involved when we do that, you know, I mean, obviously it's a big production. And, you know, they would be there, it's like kind of an event.
Cut the ribbon kind of thing for us.
Cecilia, will you please send me your notes on that so that when I rewrite
Yes.
these,
Yeah.
I'll make sure that they're worded in an appropriate fashion to present to council. And then in advance of the city council meeting on the 21st, what date is it
That's a
today?
Tuesday.
Today's the 14th, so it's 7 days from
I
now.
was gonna listen
And I'll talk
to
to
the
the
recording in the morning.
What?
So I was gonna listen to the recording in the morning because we need to get this up to the city manager and for review for council
Right?
on Tuesday, so we need to get that up there tomorrow.
Okay.
So what I could do is listen to the recording, redo the draft, send it to you, and you can look at it and tweak anything on the work plan. Perfect.
And then if I have any questions, how do I reach out to the individual that was on the committee that could clarify for me? Am I allowed to do that, or does that have to work for you?
Well, I'll have the recording, so you can just ask me the question, and then you can take it from there.
Yeah, and it's perfectly fine to reach out to one person from the committee.
Excellent, that's what I'll do. So if it's like homelessness, I'll reach out to Bill. If it's mental health, I'll reach out to Nina. If it's mentorship, I'll reach out to Tom.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll have a lot of questions, but just on the off chance I need to ask a clarifying question, I want the approval and the direction on how to do so.
Got it. So what I'll do is I'll listen to the recording and I'll merge like the 3 items into one,
Mhm.
and then get your input whether we need, and just get your input on that. And
And we'll make it nice and clean and easy to understand.
Yeah, one thing that's, we're gonna need though, for this thing approved by the city council, we'll need to talk to the St. Clemente high school principals or whoever's involved to make sure that there's a good quality base of people and maybe youngsters and some of the younger, some of these elementary schools, and find out what the interest level is. Because if there's a high interest level, that would be an important factor in terms of presenting this. Because there's also,
That is a great point.
Going to them and saying this is the St. Clementi's Human Affairs Committee work plan includes this program.
well, I'm thinking,
that way they know it's actually a thing.
yeah, well,
and
we
that's
ought to
the
have
guidance
someone
thing.
just, or designate some people to do this, just find out what is the benefit of this thing, is there an interest level, and what is the enthusiasm level of the high school and some of these schools. And if it's there, it's really a worthwhile program. If it's not, they're going to say, well, you've got to do the things, and there's too much legal liability, we could just scrap the whole damn thing. But, I mean, I would presume there's some sort of level of interest. And then if we had some people that may be associated and directed to maybe talking to some business people in the community, just kind of get an initial read on it. And then find out also if there's...
About the mentorship program you're talking about?
Yeah, the whole thing. And then the other thing would be maybe explore something with somebody who's got some money, who's got a lot of bucks and likes to, donate to stuff, and see if they might be interested in, getting behind it in some, way or another. So you'd have three aspects of the program. One, assess the high school scenario, the teachers. 2, to check out the businesses. And 3, to check out some sort of grant or private donation type participation in the program.
I think it'd be huge.
I mean, you just look at the list of donors over there at the high school that are on the wall. I'm sure there's some doctors, a plastic surgeon wouldn't mind, putting his name up there. I mean, yeah.
I think too on that every 15 minutes program, the committee would probably be involved in getting like the restaurants together to donate the food and the hotels and stuff like that. So that would be more of our involvement.
Yeah.
as well.
We thought we'd be kind of supporting the school and putting all the pieces together, I think, right?
Help be some of the legwork.
Yeah, we'd help them with the legwork, all that stuff, yeah.
So I think Tom has a really valid point. So we have 6 items, guys.
That's amazing.
We did a great job of calling this down and really having it make sense by looking at it with fresh eyes. Because 6 is very reasonable to present to council.
I mean, really, the last one is super easy. It's
Yeah.
just they, you know.
Almost
So
done.
really it's 5,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Yeah, the
But-
boilerplate things are every year.
And even,
Right.
and even number 5 or number 6 is going to be so simple because that doesn't involve a whole lot, that humanitarian work.
Mhm.
So I think the majority of the work is going to be the town hall and the resource fair, the resource guide that we're trying to create, updating it and keeping it all fresh, the mentorship program, and that number 7, the best practice, the homelessness.
Right.
Yeah, but that's integrated into the overall homelessness strategy. So, yeah.
To Tom's point, doing a little bit of work before the city council meeting, just for us to be able to say, we've approached San Clemente High School, they're on board, they're very enthusiastic. We've approached 3 local business owners regarding the mentorship program, and we already have volunteers. We've approached some local restaurants, and they're willing to help support, just whatever it may be. And I'm just using those as, examples, but for the big projects like the every 15 minutes in the mentorship program, if we can get some sort of feedback from the community
And I think if we
and
were-
then present that
Okay.
present that as part of our presentation to city council, that we've already done a little poll of the community and done a little investigation.
I'll call it down that if we're going forward, I'll call the San Clemente High Principal, because I've spoken to Highway Patrol.
Beautiful.
And then I've also spoken with Captain Bentley. So,
That would be an outstanding thing to talk about. And how long do I have to present this on behalf of our committee?
10 or 20 minutes?
It's on consent, so Cecilia, how long do they have?
Let's see, well, they would get pulled off consent for discussion.
We could just submit a memo to them. I mean, this is not that hard to do. I mean, we've already checked this out, and that would be part of the presentation. They could see that with their eyes, and it wouldn't take some long, exposition. They would just present it to them. And
Well, just for example, one thing that I think would be really helpful is just to give it some color. For example, for every 15 minutes, to have Rosemary, who's done a preponderance of the legwork on this, to stand up and do 2 or 3 minutes on, I've spoken to Sam, this is what it is, encapsulated, the impact of DUI, whether it's drugs or alcohol, on the school, the community, the families. I've spoken to Captain Benfield. I've spoken to San Clemente High School principal, Parker. And we have tremendous community enthusiasm and buy-in. We wanted to share it with you because we really are very interested in pursuing this program. Just to do it that way.
Yeah, so if the council pulls it off the agenda and then they ask the chair to come up and make a presentation or answer questions, and it's really the discretion of the council how much time you have. If the council doesn't pull it off consent, but you guys want to pull it off consent to talk about it, you guys could all fill out speaker slips and organize yourselves so you would each have your 3 minutes to talk about each of the 3 topics. Each of the topics.
is that how those little cards work?
I don't suggest we do. I expect they'll pull it off if they have questions.
I would
And if
imagine.
they don't have
would.
questions, let them approve it with one single motion, right? So that sounds like a.
So we'll be prepared in advance.
And just a question, if,
Sure.
say I was to call a few businesses and ask them, would you be willing? What would be the parameters? Would it be for a 6-week stretch? Would it be for 2 hours a day? They're gonna wanna know, if you're talking to a business owner, they'd wanna know, okay, you'd like someone to work here with me for how long, when? Well, that kind of thing.
Say we're in the initial investigative stages right now because it hasn't been approved by city council. We just like to know whether you're receptive to the idea, and we work on something that was mutually agreeable.
Yeah, different businesses might have different kind of
Yeah.
needs.
Somebody might want somebody 4 hours a week. Somebody might want somebody for 2 hours on Saturday morning. We don't know.
It'd probably be more about fitting the right kid to the right opportunity.
And that's where that database, because we really have to find out the kid's interest level. I mean, you may find some a 13-year-old girl who's really interested in flower arrangement, and then, we can put her in a beautiful little flower shop, and
You're exactly right.
you never know.
So I just have a comment. It is a 6-month plan. We have 6 months left
Right.
to get all this done, so.
Yeah.
We need to keep that in mind.
You're right.
So what happens after the 6 months?
Well,
The next-
some
the
of
next-
it you would do another annual work plan that would go to council next October.
So like if they approved every 15 minutes and we couldn't do it until next fall, is that still allowable?
I think we need to roll it over into your next year's work
Yeah,
plan.
the next committee would have to say this was unfinished, and there's a slot for that on the work plan. And-
Well, if you're 2-year members,
I'm not.
I know.
Yeah, you'd still have to put it on there as a continued or unfinished item.
So the 2-year members could move it, take it forward to the next committee and say, we really researched this, here's what it's about. We'd like to add it to the work plan for 2022, 2023.
Did we have anything from the last one that we rolled over?
The handful of items that were on the prior work plan are considered, I think, unfinished for this purpose.
The resource guide and the humanitarian award were the evergreen items that were rolled over.
In the, did you say the overall homelessness strategy?
Yes,
Today, okay.
I didn't, you did. So perfect, thank
Yeah,
you.
that wasn't from the Human Affairs Committee.
Well, it was in the joint task force, yeah.
Right, but with the dissolution, then we are rolling it in and doing that, yes.
Instructed to pick that up.
Excellent. So, we're in good shape. We have a plan. You're going to summarize,
You're
Janet?
gonna get your email tomorrow.
Oh, well, now that I know it's coming, I will. And I tell you what, do you have my cell phone number? Because if you do, and you ping me wherever I am, I'll stop, I'll log on. Excellent.
Is this a good
That
time-
gives me a night heads up.
good
Nice
time
heads
for a
up.
motion to adjourn?
I just have to go through our items.
Go on.
Stop it, I'm trying to be quick, I'm trying to be good. Alrighty, so, a special presentation. We have no special presentation today. New business, the Cox Low Cost Internet Program.
The what? I'm sorry, what was
Yes,
that?
did we push that out to all the committee members?
Yes, it was part of the agenda, so it's number.
Yeah, so there's.
It's 5A.
Yeah, so Cox has a low-cost internet program going on, and we put the information out there in case that's something the Human Affairs Committee wanted to publicize or make the community aware of.
If I may,
What is it anyway? Low cost? I just got a mailer that said $19.99.
Yeah, there's flyers in the packet.
It's in your packet.
I have to leave to take one of my kids to an appointment. Can I just make my suggestion on this quick and then split? Thank you, Lisa. This, it looks like it's $30 a month for broadband access. I think the best course of action for this committee, since we don't get a lot of viewership on our meetings directly, would be just to have us reach out to the senior center, FAM, those organizations that have a high level of contact with people who could leverage this, and make sure that they promote it at their facilities. Does that make sense?
So who's the person that's going to reach out and let them know?
I got to talk to the senior center people anyway about some things, and I'm happy to reach out to FAM too, so I'll take those two, and if you guys think of any others,
Excellent.
take them in.
Think
And
so.
I beg your pardon, I have to take a kid to an appointment for this evening.
Bye, Bill. Thank you. Thanks for your input.
Take care.
Alrighty. Oral and written communication, my understanding is that since we met in person, we're just accepting oral communication for anyone who's here or present versus written. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any additional communications from committee members and staff that we need to share? Alrighty, at this point, I move to adjourn to the next regular meeting of the Human Affairs Committee to be held on February 8th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. at the Community Center this time.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Meeting stands adjourned.
Hold on, when is this next meeting?
I'm sorry, I missed who of the second ones.
Me.
Okay, thank you, Rosemary.
When's the next
It's at
meeting?
the community center on
Oh, it's right
February
there.
8th.
Oh, it's in this thing.
Yeah, it's funny all the stuff that's in there.
I'm gonna read this
Incredible.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, February
This is
8th. Okay,
wild.
done.
Look at that. You want my green pen?
No, I don't need your green pen.
Why?